All right, good afternoon and welcome back everyone to another edition of Average Joe MTG. It has been a little while. I'm sure all of you with families can understand having a newborn is a ton of work, but that's not why you're here. You're here to watch me get my butt kicked with a sweet deck. So what we have here is another take on Hollow One. So if you guys remember, Hollow One was a sweet archetype back, I guess a couple years back now. Ken Yukihiro piloted this at the Pro Tour to a pretty good finish. Actually, it was just really sweet, really took off. It's kind of a pseudo or alternate graveyard deck. So for those who maybe aren't huge fans of Dredge, this is another kind of deck that has a lot of similar synergies, I guess, bringing stuff back from the graveyard and that kind of stuff. So there was a huge ban for this deck also maybe a year or two ago in Faithless Looting, and Faithless Looting was what really made this deck tick. When that got cut, this deck basically fell apart and was pretty much unplayable. We've had a few more sets come out since then, adding some additional cards. Those specifically being Kroxa, fits really nicely into this package. Seasoned Pyromancer from the Modern Horizons set just does everything that you want it to do. You get a body, you get to draw more cards, you get to discard cards. That really plays into the plan. And also Ox of Agonis from the Theros Beyond Death. So there's a lot of escape mechanic in here. And then this is kind of the, in theory, you discard this, you pay the 2 to escape, exile a bunch of useless cards, discard your hand, draw more cards. Very similar to Seasoned Pyromancer here. So those are kind of the new cards in it, but let's just take a look at the deck as a whole, and let's see what it kind of looks like. So your mana base, pretty lean, just straight red-black. The old versions were using Wooded Foothills and a Singleton Stomping Ground for some sideboard green pieces with Ancient Grudge. We've moved away from that here. We have a couple unearths, cycling, real big deal with Flameblade Adept, real big deal with Hollow One. Also a card that was reintroduced to Modern via Modern Horizons. So this works really well with your Bloodghast in the event you don't have a land. Works really well with Flameblade Adepts, with Cruxas, with Seasoned Pyromancers, with Flamewake Phoenixes. Just a good addition. You can make the argument to cut these out. And I've been toying around with some additional cards, some Delirium Skeins, which is a 3-drop. I've had moderate success. I've used some Waste Knots in this slot. I've also used Lightning Skelementals over Oxes. So just a couple different variations, but this is the one we're going to try today. Burning Inquiry, everyone's favorite card. This is the RNG card if you've ever seen one before. So each player draws 3, then discards 3 at random. Really good with this Flameblade Adept, really good with these Hollow Ones and these Oxes. You've got Flameblade Adept, which is actually one of the sneaky best cards in this deck. 1 red, 1/2 Menace. Whenever you cycle or discard a card, Flameblade Adept gets +1/+0. So it has natural creature evasion. The body of it is a little weak, but in the early games, this is a sweet card. Bolt, you go face. Mostly go face. You don't do a lot of creature removal with this. In my experience playing with it, you do go face quite a bit. Bloodcast, just a good recursive threat. Goblin Lore, this is just another sweet card. So very similar to Burning Inquiry. Burning Inquiry is symmetrical effect. This is an asymmetrical effect, so this is just for you. You draw 4 cards, then discard 3 at random. Cruxa, just a really good fit in this deck. It does what you want it to do. It's a big body. You can bring it back. You can discard it. It has the opponent discard cards. It's just a good addition to the deck. Flamewake Phoenix. This is a sweet card. I don't know if it's good. I don't know if it's better than Arc-like Phoenix also, to be honest with you. But this is a sweet card for this deck. This is a 3 mana 2/2 Flying Haster. Flame Wake attacks each combat if able. That's not really the key here, but the ferocious mechanic on it is basically, as long as you control a creature with power 4 or greater, you can pay red at the beginning of combat and bring this back from your graveyard. Obviously, that's a big deal with your Flame Blade Adepts, with your Hollow Ones, with your Oxus. Oftentimes, you'll have that. We did trim on these because, as you've noticed from the old list, we cut out Grimag Anglers and Tassigers. So you don't have as many 4 power creatures or better. But you have it often enough, and a lot of times it's easy to just cast this. Again, this card got a lot weaker with the banning of Faithless Looting, so we've trimmed that down to 3. Seasoned Pyromancer, sweet card from Modern Horizons. Again, for those who aren't familiar with it, this is played in a lot of those Gruul decks. You play it, you discard 2 cards. If they're non-land cards, you get a 1/1 elemental, and you get to draw more cards, draw 2 cards. So you're discarding 2, drawing 2, looting effect. That works well with Flame Blade, works well with Bloodghast, works well with Seasoned Pyro, or with Flame Wake, works well with Hollow One, works well with Ox. Just a great card. Street Wraith, this helps you find pieces, cycling. That's really all you need it for. It's just some fluff, just air. I guess you could hardcast it. I know I've hardcast this against a Living End in the past where it's been quite good. Ox of Agonis, this is kind of the big deal card. And what really kind of makes this deck, in my opinion, viable again. So again, 2 mana, discard your hand, draw 3. That's really, really good with all of the pieces that you have here. Then the namesake of the card, 5 mana 4/4 on its face doesn't sound good, but the spell does cost 2 less to cast for each card you've cycled or discarded. All of these spells are basically discard or cyclers, making it cost 2 less, so a lot of times you get this out for free or for 1 mana. Pretty good. As we take a look at the sideboard here, 3 Fatal Push for some additional removal, Collective Brutality for some help with discarding potentially, but mostly for that burn matchup. Leyline of the Void for a mirror graveyard shenanigans. Then actual shenanigans. This used to be Ancient Grudge here, but this is actually just, I think you can make the argument, not strictly better, but pretty good with all the draw effects that you have. Dredge 1 on it so you can continue to recur it. Blood Moon for big mana and problematic, Field of the Deads and that kind of stuff. Dragon's Claw for those prowess decks, for those burn decks. We have a lot of red spells. They have a lot of red spells. The math kind of checks out. So there you have it. Red, Black, Hollow One. Let's see if we can win some games here. We'll jump into a Modern League. And let's do it. I'm really excited to play this deck. This is one of my favorite decks. This and Bant Eldrazi, and anybody who knows me will tell you that just Bant Eldrazi is unplayable and bad. It was sweet, 4 years ago or so, back in the heyday, but the power creep in Modern has just been absolutely insane. So we'll see what Hollow One looks like. Again, Faithless Looting really caused this deck to just fall out of favor. But hopefully with the new tools we got, we can, maybe take it to a few wins. Who knows? I think the core of the deck is still quite good. And I think we've even seen some different variations. You've seen that mono red Eldrazi conscription deck that uses Storm Herald Eldrazi conscription, which is kind of a sweet little combo. Alright, so here we go. We are on the draw. So this is one of those hands where you really wish you had a Faithless Looting. I don't love this, but we're going to give it a shot and see how this plays out. Okay, so Valakut. right, so it does get a little bit better here. We're going to go ahead and play this Blood Crypt untapped, fire off this Burning Inquiry, and see where that lands each of us. And we'll also get a better idea of what our opponent is playing. So, opponent is playing, so you see, we did discard 2 hollow ones there. Not very, we didn't discard anything that we really wanted to discard, right? So, we wanted to discard Flame Wake, we wanted to discard Ox. We did get rid of one of those Bloodghasts, but subsequently we also got rid of those 2 hollow ones, which to be able to crank those 2 out turn 1 would have been absolutely insane. A lot of times too, you want to have a better turn 1 play than just a Burning Inquiry. I kept that against my better instinct, but we'll see. And we'll see. Let's go ahead and get this Flame Blade out. Play a land, get this Bloodghast back. And we'll go from there. What we really need here is a 3rd land. We can get this Pyromancer out. And that's fine. That makes our hand just really bad. Stomping Ground for opponent. They're on that Temur Scapeshift life. Uro, of course. Uro is just a beating. That card is so good. And it's interesting with Uro because a lot of times when you're playing with Uro, it feels worse than when you're playing against it. So I don't know. I know how good Uro is, especially in some of the other formats. Historic is just insane. Standard, it's just insane. Alright, so we'll see what we got going on here. Do a Burning Inquiry. We'll go ahead and fetch Shock. Or maybe just go with just grab a Mountain. And I think what we're going to do here is cast this Ox, which we have just enough cards for. And we'll discard our hand, I think is kind of where we want to be. That's pretty good. We don't have any red to get these out of the graveyard, but next turn, if we don't get killed, we will. So, an Ox by itself is pretty good. It does die to Lightning Bolt, which makes it actually just bad, but I mean, we could also just be getting Scapeshifted right here. I think, let's see, I think they have to have 7 lands for Scapeshift. 1, 2, I only have 5, so. But Uro could be coming out, which that's what it looks like. I feel like we're probably okay with that. We don't really have any way to deal with Uro pre-board. Post-board, we have to hope we find a Leyline of the Void. Oof. Which is so good. Okay, so let's go ahead and play this. Put that on there. Let's go ahead and Goblin Lore and see what happens here. Got another Bloodghast. Get this other one out, and then we'll also get out a 2 Flamewake Phoenixes here. I think that's not too terrible. And we'll see if we can just overwhelm our opponent, hopefully. I mean, honestly, I could have just gotten in with Bloodghast, but it doesn't do anything by hanging back. And I mean, he would have blocked it anyway, I guess, but 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So they have enough to Scapeshift us here, and if they do, we'll just go ahead and scoop. Bring to light, yeah, Scapeshift, okay. Yep, so that's going to be game. So here we want to bring in Blood Moons. We want to bring in these Leyline of the Voids. I'm not sure that I love... I don't know how I feel about these Unearths here. I think they might just be bad. I don't know. Let's see. I don't know. I think Unearth is bad. What else do we want to cut here? I think Flamewake Phoenix is probably, honest, I don't know if it's Flamewake or if it's Bloodghast here. I'm going to go with Bloodghast, trimming those. Maybe we'll just cut all 4 Bloodghasts and bring in a Fatal Push. Let's try it like that and see what happens. Nope, that's not going to do it. See, normally I would say, hey, this is pretty good. You can turn to, but I think we need to find a way to deal with that Uro. So let's mulligan again. This one I think we're going to go ahead and keep. And we're going to get rid of the Lightning Bolt. We're going to get rid of this Burning Inquiry. Let's see. We could cut that. We could cut the hollow one. Yeah, let's cut the hollow one. I don't love this keep either. I think it's not very good. I think it's worse than one of the other hands we had. But let's see. Let's see what happens. We could potentially get a pretty big swing in here, which might be enough to kind of put them off base. Okay. So I'm a fan of Goblin lore here. All right, get in for 6. We did discard a hollow one there. I can see a Remand in our future. I feel like these Temur decks probably play Remand or Negate, maybe. Something like that. So let's just do this. Let's just get in for 1 here. I'd like for them to spend their mana, because next turn we can get in for quite a bit. We can probably bolt here at the end of their turn into another Burning Inquiry, which you know, could be game over for them. Ooh. So this is interesting. If they have Remand or Negate, Let's just see what happens here. Okay, I mean, what's that other card also? The Ether Gust. Ether Gust could also be very good right here. I mean, this does kill them if they don't have something. Bolt, Ether Gust, anything. Yeah, Lightning Bolt, sure. And that's why we really wanted them to have to spend their mana. So those Triomes, I mean, those are good cards. Ooh, Anger, okay. I think we're okay with that at this point. Let's see, we cut the Bloodghasts, right? Yeah, we cut the Bloodghasts, okay. If we can get a black, oh, this is pretty good. I think that's not too bad. Now, next turn, we can probably Kroxa. I mean, they're on the defense. 1, 2, 3, 4. How many cards? 5. So, I mean, any land here for them, green or blue land here for them, they can just play Uro out. And then, yeah, so they're just going to go ahead and Uro. Yeah. So back when this deck was really popular too, there was no Uro that you had to contend with. Just the consistent card draw, land drop, ramping, you know, and life gain makes it really difficult to deal with. Alright, so we need a black source. So we'll go ahead and get a Blood Crypt. Blood Moon would be pretty good here, huh? Let's see, they block there. I think we just Kroxa here. And we cut Street Wraith, Hollow One. And depending on what they want to do, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So they're a land away from killing us. I just don't think we attack here. I think we hold back with Kroxa. Certainly block with Kroxa for sure. So yeah, I think we're just dead with Scapeshift. We'll just make him do it. So they did 7 lands, that's probably 2 Valakuts and 5 mountains. And that's 6, that's 1 Valakut and 1, 2, 3. So 3, 6. Yeah. Alright, well that was actually kind of a close one. And we will be right back. I'll see you guys for game 2.